Picture this. It's a Tuesday night, in mid-October. The weather app on your phone just buzzed with a frost advisory. And your lettuce, spinach and kale are still sitting out there in the garden bed, completely unprotected. For most beginner gardeners, that buzz feels like a countdown timer on the whole growing season. But what if I told you that a single afternoon and less than $30 could buy you weeks, sometimes months, of extra growing time? That's exactly what a simple cold frame can do, and today I'm going to walk you through building one from start to finish, using materials you can find at almost any hardware store. And in some cases, materials that are probably already sitting in your garage or leaning against your shed. A cold frame, if you've never heard the term before, is basically a bottomless box. With a clear lid. You set it directly over your garden bed or over potted plants. And it works like a miniature greenhouse, trapping the sun's heat during the day and slowing down heat loss at night. It sounds almost too simple to work, but that simplicity is exactly why it's been a staple trick for market gardeners and homesteaders for well over a century. War. The reason this matters so much for a beginner gardener in the United States is that frost dates vary wildly depending on where you live. But almost everyone deals with at least a few weeks of unpredictable, frost-threatened weather in both the spring and the fall. Those transition weeks are when a lot of new gardeners lose their nerve. Pull everything out of the ground too early, or watch a promising crop of greens turn to mush overnight. A cold frame takes that stress away. Instead of racing the calendar, you're buying yourself insurance, and that insurance costs less than a single tray of seedlings from the garden center. Think about all the effort you already put into a garden bed over a season, the seed starting, the weeding, the watering through a hot July, and how deflating it feels to watch a single overnight frost undo weeks of that work in a matter of hours. A cold frame is the cheapest form of protection you can give that investment of time and effort, and once you've built one, why you waited so long to try it? So let's talk about what you'll actually need, because the beauty of this project is how forgiving it is. For the frame itself, 4 boards of untreated 1x8 or 1x10 lumber work perfectly, and you can often get a hardware store to make the straight cuts for you, at no charge if you ask nicely. You'll want 2 side pieces roughly 3 feet long, a back piece around 3 feet wide, and a front piece cut a few inches shorter than the back, because a cold frame with a sloped top sheds rain and catches more direct winter sun than one with a flat lid. For the lid, an old window sash is the classic choice, and, if you can find one at a Habitat for Humanity, restore, an estate sale, or even on a local buy-nothing group online, you've just saved yourself the biggest expense in the whole build. If a free window isn't in the cards, a sheet of clear corrugated polycarbonate roofing panel from the hardware store, cut to size, works just as well and usually costs under $15. You'll also need a small box of exterior screws, a handful of corner brackets if your lumber is thin, and 2 simple hinges to attach the lid to the back board so it can prop open on warm afternoons. Let's actually break down that under $30 budget, because it's a lot more realistic than it sounds. 4 boards of 1x8 untreated pine, even at today's lumber prices, typically run somewhere between $12 and $18 total, especially if you buy a single longer board and have it cut into your 4 pieces, rather than buying 4 separate short lengths. A box of exterior deck screws is usually under $6, and you'll use a small fraction of the box, leaving plenty for future projects. 2 basic exterior hinges cost about $4 to $6 for the pair. If you're using a scavenged window sash, your lid is essentially free, which puts the whole project comfortably under $20. Even if you have to buy a polycarbonate panel new, cutting it down to size yourself with a basic utility knife or a fine-tooth saw, you're typically looking at another $12 to $15, which still lands you right around that $30 mark with a few dollars to spare for a handful of extra screws or a can of leftover paint. Compare that to a pre-made cold frame kit at a garden center, which regularly sells for $80 to $150 for something not nearly as sturdy. And the value of a weekend spent building your own becomes pretty obvious. Building it is refreshingly straightforward. Start by laying your 4 boards out on a flat surface in the shape of a box, with the shorter front board and taller back board connected by the 2 side pieces, which should already be cut at an angle if you want that classic, sloped profile, though a perfectly good beginner version can just use straight sideboards with the front and back at different heights, letting the lid rest at a gentle slope naturally. Screw the corners together, adding a corner bracket on the inside of each joint if the wood feels at all wobbly. Once the box is solid, set it in place directly over the section of garden bed you want to protect, pressing it slightly into the soil, so cold air can't sneak in underneath. Then, attach your window sash or polycarbonate lid to the top back edge using the 2 hinges, so the whole lid swings open like a car hood. That hinge is what makes this project genuinely useful, rather than just decorative. Because temperatures inside a closed cold frame can switch on a sunny day, and you need to be able to prop the lid open for ventilation without fully removing it every single time. Now, a few of the most common mistakes I see beginner gardeners make with their first cold frame, so you can skip straight past them. The biggest one is forgetting about ventilation completely. On a sunny 50-degree day, the inside of a closed cold frame can easily climb past 90 degrees, which will cook your seedlings just as fast as a hard freeze would kill them. A cheap thermometer placed inside the frame, or simply the habit of propping the lid open with a stick or a block of wood whenever the sun is out, solves this instantly. The second common mistake is placement. Gardeners often tuck their cold frame into a shady corner because that's where there happen to be empty space. But a cold frame needs as much southern or south-facing sun exposure as your yard allows, since it's relying on that sunlight to generate and store warmth. The third mistake is skipping the gap ceiling step. Cold air pools right at ground level, so if your frame isn't sitting snugly against the soil, or if there are visible gaps between the boards, you're losing most of the insulating benefit before you've even started. A little soil mounded around the base, sometimes called banking, takes care of this in about 5 minutes. The fourth mistake, and one that catches even experienced gardeners off guard, is choosing the wrong crops. For the wrong stage of the cold frame's life, warm season vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, and squash simply were never built to tolerate the cold nights a frame is designed for, and tucking them in there hoping for a miracle usually just delays the inevitable by a week or 2. Save your cold frame real estate for the crops that actually thrive in cool, protected conditions, and you'll get far better results with far less fuss. Once your cold frame is up and running, a few pro tips will help you get the absolute most out of it. Painting or staining the inside walls a dark color, if you're using wood, helps the frame absorb and hold on to more heat throughout the day, similar to how a dark car interior heats up faster in the sun than a light-colored one. Lining the inside walls with an old wool blanket or a layer of straw bales on particularly brutal nights can add several extra degrees of insulation when a hard freeze warning comes through. If you live somewhere with harsh winters, consider adding a simple automatic vent opener, a small wax-filled cylinder that expands with heat and physically pushes the lid open without any electricity or manual effort, which is a wonderful investment if you tend to be away from home during the day and can't manually check the frame's temperature. And don't underestimate what you can grow in there, beyond just lettuce and spinach. Carrots, radishes, beets, and hardy herbs, like parsley and cilantro, all do beautifully in a cold frame environment. Well into the colder months, another tip that surprises a lot of beginners is that you can use a cold frame in reverse. Come late winter and early spring, turning it into a hardening off station for seedlings you started indoors under grow lights. Instead of shocking those tender little seedlings by moving them straight from a cozy windowsill into the open garden, you set their trays inside the cold frame for a week or two, gradually propping the lid open longer each day, and by the time they go into the ground permanently, they've already adjusted to real outdoor light and temperature swings. Seeps. It's a small trick that dramatically cuts down on transplant shock and wilted, sad-looking seedlings in April. Finally, keep a simple garden journal, or even just a note on your phone tracking which nights you closed the lid, which crops you tried, and how they performed, because next year's version of yourself will thank you for that data when deciding what to plant earlier, or protect longer. Thinking about timing and region for a beginner audience across the United States. The general rule of thumb is to have your cold frame built and in place about 2 to 3 weeks before your area's average first fall frost date, which you can look up easily by searching your zip code alongside first frost date. Gardeners in warmer regions of the southeast and southwest might only need the cold frame for a handful of unpredictable cold snaps, essentially using it as cheap insurance rather than a season-long necessity, while gardeners in the upper Midwest, the Northeast, and mountain regions will likely rely on their cold frame from October all the way through into early spring, especially for overwintering hardy greens, and getting an early jump on spring seedlings weeks before the ground would otherwise be workable. Either way, the same basic build works everywhere, only your usage pattern and how often you're checking that ventilation will change based on your climate. If you're gardening in the Pacific Northwest or coastal California, your biggest enemy usually isn't extreme cold, but persistent damp, so make sure your frame has small gaps or a slight tilt built into the design to let excess moisture drain away rather than pooling and encouraging mold or rot on your seedlings. In the humid southeast, that same drainage consideration matters just as much, but you'll also want to keep an especially close eye on ventilation. Since warm, muggy afternoons even in late fall can spike the internal temperature of a closed frame surprisingly fast, gardeners out on the northern plains or in mountain states dealing with genuinely brutal winters might consider seeing a second layer of old row cover fabric draped loosely over the crops inside the nights, giving you a backup layer of insulation for those nights when the forecast dips into the single digits. No matter which of these categories describes your yard, the underlying principle never changes. You're simply giving your plants a buffer against the extremes, and a little bit of daily attention during transitional weather goes a long way toward getting the most out of that buffer. What I love most about this project is how it quietly shifts your relationship with the seasons. Instead of dreading that first frost warning notification, you'll find yourself almost excited to see how your cold frame handles it, checking on your greens the next morning and finding them just as vibrant as the day before. It's a small, inexpensive structure, but it teaches a genuinely valuable gardening lesson. That, with a little bit of protection and a little bit of planning, the growing season is a lot longer and a lot more forgiving than most beginners ever realize. Give this build a try this week. Snap a photo of your finished cold frame and let us know in the comments what you're planning to grow under it this fall. You don't need a big backyard, a fancy greenhouse budget, or years of experience to pull this off. You just need an afternoon, a few boards, and the willingness to try something new. Once you've built your first one, don't be surprised if you find yourself building a second, and then a third, tucked along different edges of your garden to protect different crops throughout the years. If you love learning about seasonal flowering plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.